How do I go down?
This one is down. Yeah.
See, down, down, down.
I
Say
mean,
something.
you don't think you sound beautiful enough to turn up.
I'd like to turn myself down. And you up. It's fine. I'll listen to my voice.
I can mute. Wait,
No, don't worry about it.
I guess I can't mute you.
I should get used to it so I don't. If I switch headphones, I'm not screaming at you.
When's the last time you've heard your own voice?
When I did the Stitch Down podcast, probably,
Yeah.
and I had to do the same setup.
Did you listen? Do you ever listen back to that one?
I did.
Yeah.
Not because I like hearing myself, but to try to be better for next time.
I think you had like your highlight, I would say, was the hot dog conversation and not the leather conversation.
Yeah.
But you forgot an ingredient of hot dog. I forget what it was, like sport peppers or something. Celery salt is the obscure one.
I think I got that one. Poppy seed bun, sport pepper, tomato,
Vienna beef dog,
Vienna beef dog, mustard, green relish,
no ketchup,
onion.
raw ass.
I think I missed raw onion.
Which
I forgot it because I don't like it.
you're the one that taught me about raw onions. It's like, don't do it because you're just gonna burp onions for a week.
You got to soak them in water first.
Well,
That takes it out of it.
are you gonna start a hot dog stand?
Sure.
Okay. Well, let's start our first show. What do you say? Should we do it?
Let's do it.
Oh, yes.
I think I'm gonna have way too much fun with the soundboard, because I only have applause and David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth, interesting choice.
Could you tell?
No.
Here's-
Oh, yes.
Where's the try it out button?
we could add. Well, after we finish this one, we can add whatever we want.
Try it out.
And there's sort of a lot of options. You can have a lot of buttons. So we'll make you like a custom little button array that you can just smash buttons.
Okay.
All right. Very important stuff. We're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
We didn't really even prep for this, right? But I did. I did my homework. I actually collected some statistics about podcasts since you and I had been talking about doing something like this for about a year now. I think everybody got the idea that like a podcast might be interesting to do when the pandemic and everything was getting shut down. I don't think that's probably when we started talking about this. I have some stats about podcasts.
Let's hear 'em.
Tell me what you think. Did you know there are over 2 million podcasts in the world? 7% of people listen to podcasts every day. More men tend to listen to podcasts than women. iTunes has over 700,000 podcasts. The average person spends 7+ hours per week listening to podcasts.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, feedback on those. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I guess I'm in between because there's not a ton of podcasts that I'm super into right now, which I sort of I guess I sort of come in and out of. I get super into some podcasts and then go backlog and then sort of phase out. But
I thought you were
7
really
hours.
you're really into hardcore history.
he doesn't really do anything anymore, though. I
Yeah.
am, but that's not really like a podcast. That's more like a
Audiobook.
it's like an audiobook on a certain subject. But yeah, he hasn't. I don't think he's done an episode in like he does like 3 a year. It's like something ridiculous at this point. Or I wish he did more because they're so good. But
If there was a podcast about a thing, what would that podcast be like? I'll tell you some stuff I like.
it'd be about full grain leather.
Well, I also did some research on podcasts about leather, and there's a different type of leather community that we're not actually in.
I'm aware of it.
I mean,
I'm
we're
not-
both dads.
I'm not in it.
Both dads. We both like leather. Are we leather dads? I think that's a dangerous path.
That's
The trajectory is.
that's adjacent to the community you're talking about.
Yeah.
Which God bless them.
Yes, but that's not this.
Not exactly.
Seriousness, I tend to like podcasts, kind of like hardcore history, where it's sort of like a book. Like, teach me a thing, teach me something I can get into. Hardcore history is maybe a little too hardcore.
Yeah, it's pretty
for me. My attention span, and then I'll start listening to one of his Dan Carlin's shows, and it's like 18 hours. I'll go through like 2 hours and be really into it, and work gets in the way, and we do a podcast, and I feel like forget what I was doing, and I just don't pick it back up. So I think that's a
I
problem.
like how he's like, this is part 6 of this series. You might want to listen to the previous 5, which end up being like 13 or 14 hours. Like, or you can just pick it up here and have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So of course you need to go back to the beginning, but yeah.
It's I get interested in learning about a topic, like a deep dive, and I think that's something we're going to try to do here.
Yep.
But there's a guy, Lex Friedman, if you heard of him.
Yep.
I really like his science, sort of like technology stuff. Like, let's talk to the guy that made, like, I was just listening to one, the guy that programmed Doom, and he talks to him about what that was like. I find that.
What's that guy's name?
Great question. I should know because I just heard
John Carmack.
John Carmack. He was a fascinating guy. Pretty interesting and pretty brilliant dude. I actually didn't know anything about him. So I actually, skipping ahead here a bit, I think we're going to try to have some guests on that are kind of in a similar vein where it's like, maybe you've never heard of this person, but you certainly know the things that they've done and like value the things they've done. So we actually have started collecting a list of people.
Yeah,
that we'd
they're
like to
not
speak
all
to.
other people either. Like people that maybe have done, I guess we may have been introduced to them through leathery stuff, but chefs and bartenders and designers and retailers, and there's a whole list of people. I think it'll be interesting. We'll see who says yes.
Yeah.
So far we've been doing okay.
Yeah. What's the yes rate? Are we 100?
I mean, we're at 100% so far, but I think we've gotten like maybe
Sample size of
10.
small sample
Yeah,
size.
it's been. I mean, people are cool, so I think we'll be fine. We're not asking people that are out of reach either. I don't think, not yet.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the list. It's a lot of leather people. But again, it's like people you've never heard of before. They think like I'm anxious to speak to them because I really want to know how that happened, the story and like the thought process behind it. It's pretty interesting. That's skipping way ahead though. I am this person. People watch or listen to podcasts and watching them too. We're going to record as much as we can and do some videos for these and post some highlights on YouTube. But I'm the podcast listener. A lot of the times making a wallet or if I'm cutting out pattern pieces, it's a really good opportunity for me to listen to music, listen to audiobooks, listen to podcasts. I'm this person that's probably gotten more into it over the last pandemic worth of time. Less than 20% of podcasts that launch this year will not make it to next year. Now, I don't think we're going to be one of those. I guess it depends on if people listen to this.
Oh, right. Okay. I was having, my brain wasn't.
This is a fail,
My brain wasn't processing that stat right. Yeah.
Well, we're starting this year. There's an 80% chance that we're gonna not make it. Am I reading that right?
Yeah. No, I think that's right. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me because it's the at this point the barriers to entry are pretty low. Like you have an iPhone and some headphones, like you can start a podcast. So that doesn't surprise me that much. But I think the people, well, we'll see.
This next one gets me. 50% of podcasts have 10 episodes or less, which means to me like they started it and couldn't keep it up. 17% of podcasts have over 50 episodes. So it's a 17% success rate as far as I can tell.
Yep. That makes sense.
I think we're going to make it.
I
feel good. I mean, just based on the list of guests, if we get 80% of them that say yes, we'll beat. Maybe 50 episodes is going to be tough. But we'll see.
I mean, I'm gonna have fun talking to them. So
Yeah, screw it.
yeah.
A lot of people started podcasting in the pandemic. We're a little late to the game, and I don't know if it really matters. Do you think it matters?
I don't know. I mean,
Dude, I think there's only one. We both listened to Stitch Down Shoecast. That's like the only other thing that's sort of like in this world that I listen to. Probably don't know about other things, but
yeah, I've tried to find some other podcasts like that. Maybe not about shoes and leather, but about like denim and other stuff. And I have not been pleased.
Well, what would you do differently? Or what should we do differently if we talk about denim, for example?
To be a denim podcast is pretty specific. I mean, I know that this is kind of like a leather podcast, but it's not going to be just leather. We're not just talking about, because that ends up not appealing to a ton of people, I think. And how long can you talk about jeans for? How many, 50 episodes of jeans? No, thanks.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I have a YouTube channel for Ashland with, I don't even know how many videos, but I've talked about leather for hundreds of hours. So it's possible. I'm certain I've repeated myself a lot. But
You're also talking about products, though, and as products come out, and you've got unique stuff. And I mean, how long is your average Ashland clip?
10 minutes.
Yeah. And I think that's different than 30 or 60 or 90 or however long these podcasts.
Well, so what are the things? What are the things that we should talk about here? I mean, leather. I think I could go pretty hard on leather for another several hundred hours, but what other things are interesting that we should do here? What should people expect if we get it to that 50 episode mark?
Well, I'm really excited about the guests. I think that because there are some people that people may have heard of but don't get to hear from a lot, and I think that between you and I, maybe we can ask them some questions that haven't been asked before, which I think is interesting. And everything is changing. I mean, even just inside the leather industry, which is a pretty old industry and like not that huge, especially in the US, I think there's still a lot of stuff that's changing. So there's some interesting stuff there, but I'm excited to answer questions too. I mean, that always seems to spark a lot of further conversation. Because people ask questions that, sometimes they're simple, but sometimes they're like super, they make, it's a deep dive to answer it, which I think, I mean, for that person will be interesting, and we'll see how many other people find it interesting, but I'm looking forward to that. Definitely.
I mean, I've come across that. I'll do live streams on YouTube also. And I think what it is you and I are very close to the subject matter. So there are certain things that are like obvious to us that we don't think to talk about. So I get simple questions all the time that are like actually really fascinating. So yeah, we'll have we have an email address actually that people can send questions to, which would be great for you guys to send questions about what we should chat about. We know a lot about leather, and I think we have a lot of opinions about things we don't know as much about. Maybe that's the best way to put it.
Accurate.
Yeah. So send us your comments and your questions to fullgrainpodcast@gmail.com. Is there anything that we don't want to talk about on here? I mean, I'll put it out there. I don't necessarily think it'd be interesting to be another show that talks about any sort of politics. Is that interesting to you?
Not really. No, it's just
okay, good.
Especially these days. There's some interesting facets of manufacturing that are sort of affected by politics in terms of like being in Chicago and different regulations and how those regulations change. So I think that's probably as close as I would ever want to get to it, and that gets pretty obscure pretty quick. So if we got questions, I think that would be interesting to talk about, but I don't want to talk about politics.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. If it's a local politic thing that involves the tannery or manufacturing that I do, I'd be kind of interested to talk about that if it's interesting to people out there.
And we'll have to pull up the ward map of Chicago at least once for giggles.
Oh, just the gerrymandering?
The most gerrymandered, like the lobster district. There's like that, the ward that's shaped like a lobster. It's like it's so gerrymandered. Anyway.
We're going too far in politics already.
Yeah, it's fun. It's because it's funny, because it's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, yeah. But
what else do we not want to talk about? I mean, religion.
Yeah, no, I mean, once we get into having a few people on here, I think you and I are pretty similarly minded on a lot of the stuff that we like to talk about. So I think I'm not too worried about stuff coming up that we're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay.
We've known each other. Have you done the math here? It's it's too much adding. Over 2 decades we've known each other.
Yeah, like 25 years, something like that. Is that right? I think so.
Yeah, that's about the number?
I think that's about right.
Middle school.
Yeah, we'll say 25. 20, maybe a little more.
Here's an off-topic thing. I found out I was old recently. Has there been an experience that you've had where you found out like you're like, damn, I'm really old?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, give me a story. What sets that up for you?
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff, but
The world.
yeah, no, I don't know. It's not that interesting, but I still play a little bit of hockey and just getting like thinking that I'm like still able to do things. And then there's like a 25-year-old whippersnapper and just like, there's just no, it's like I might as well not even be trying.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I'm just so old. we're not really that old.
No,
but
you feel it, man.
I mean, especially in something like that. But I mean, having little kids too, we both have kids, that'll do it too. Quick.
We have little terrorists at
Yeah.
home. All right, here's my story. Headline is twerking is like a really big deal. That's how I felt old. There's two very powerful experiences that I had about twerking recently. One of which was on Puerto Rican Day I live near Humboldt Park here, and they have like Puerto Rican Fest every year, obviously. I think it's a everywhere thing, but the one here is massive. And they just, Puerto Rican Fest, they take over the streets. It's actually kind of awesome. They have just a huge party for the weekend. And I ordered some food down the street and walked over to pick it up. I saw a twerking battle with like really young girls on the tops of cars. So one car is going straight away from me with a girl on it, hands on the roof, feet on the roof, twerking,
All right.
driving down the parade.
Okay.
Coming the other way towards me is another girl doing the same exact thing at the girl across the street. So like a twerk battle.
But they can't see what the other one is doing. So how?
So that's the funniest part is
Are they holding
there's girls
mirrors?
on top of the cars driving down the street. They see each other. They go, "Oh, you," and then they like twerk at each other.
There's a third party judge though. Like they can't. It's not like they
I
can
guess
decide.
it-
Like you can't. I mean, my limited knowledge of twerking, you can't like see. I don't think you can see what the other person is doing. Can you?
I can't think of the term. It's an exhibition. It's like an unjudged twerk battle. So that's one. Then last weekend,
So it's participation trophies only.
yeah, I mean, everybody loses. The second twerking story is a little less direct. Like I wasn't there. Lollapalooza happened. Was that a week ago? A week ago.
Yeah,
My wife
this
went
summer,
down.
Yeah.
And who knows when this episode's going to come out. My wife went to Lollapalooza, and turns out they actually streamed Lollapalooza on Hulu, which was actually kind of neat because I could see Metallica, for example, and like other bands. Other than Metallica would be the exception here. Every female or like every woman that I saw that was a performer was twerking. And then Laura came home after she loves Machine Gun Kelly. No twerking there. But she came home and I said, how was it? Oh, it was amazing. I love Machine Gun Kelly. There was so much twerking. So this is how I feel old, is like, that's not a thing in my brain that like I want to see or like want to do, or like it's never a notion that's like it needs to be expressed.
Yeah, you know what this place needs? More twerking.
I'm very old. And it's concerning to me because now I have a kid and she's a little girl. It's like, please don't do that. All right. Well,
We'll see how that goes.
I want to talk about favorite things. This is a segment of the show that we're going to try to do here where we talk about stuff that we've been into over the last week. It could be music, could be TV shows, could be movies. Like right now, my wife's upstairs watching this Robin Williams documentary. It seems really cool.
I haven't seen it.
It seems pretty. He's a wild. He's an incredible guy.
Yeah.
Another HBO show that I've been watching is called The Rehearsal, and there's with this guy named Nathan Fielder. And I find him to be incredibly funny, but he's funny in the incredibly cringy, awkward kind of way. You're watching the show and you're just like, oh, I I can't believe he did that. The rehearsal is about putting people into their most uncomfortable situations and rehearsing the situation to make you feel more comfortable. And what he did that makes it even, that doesn't sound very funny. The funny part is he recreates the world around these people to such detail because he thinks it's going to help them. It's pretty funny. If you haven't seen that it's good. But what's better is a show called Nathan For You. Have you seen Nathan For You?
Not yet. No.
After this, we're going to watch Nathan For You. Nathan For You is almost like a prank show. I can't suggest that enough. What have you been watching or listening to?
I mean, I haven't had a ton of time. I think the newest season of Westworld is out, and I'm into that show, but it's pretty.
You got to sell me on it.
Yeah,
I gave up 2 seasons ago, I think.
It's pretty. I mean, I like it. Obviously, I keep watching it, but it gets complicated, and it's just. I mean, everybody. Spoiler alert! Everybody's a robot, and they're all computers. So if someone dies, they just bring them back as like a new robot. So like anybody that dies like isn't really dead. So it's very confusing. They just like kill people and then they come back. But so I've been watching that.
Do you like it? The new one?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think
isn't Jesse Pinkman in that?
Yeah.
How is he? Good.
He's a very enthusiastic actor.
You don't like it?
No, I do. It's just he's good. He's good. I mean, all the acting in the show is really good. Yeah, and I've been listening to that band White Ward that you sent me.
Do you like it?
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. All their songs are 72 minutes long. But they're all super long. But it's good. It's good. It's different enough than what I've been listening to. But
I stumbled across. I don't even know how I found that, but it's like death metal with saxophone.
Yeah,
and it works. But the crazy thing about that band is they released an album in the middle of a war. They're from Ukraine. I don't know how they're doing that. So it's incredible. All right. Well, so Westworld, new one. You think I should catch up?
Yeah. I mean, if you like it, go. I mean,
I loved the first one, and I kind of like the second season.
You'll decide quick. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty polarizing show, to be honest. I watched the new Jurassic Park.
Wah, wah. I need a womp womp. I think I have.
Thumbs down.
I think I have that.
That's not fair. I mean, it is what it is. It's a dinosaur movie. It's entertaining. It's not like I had high hopes for it, but it wasn't.
So you watched the new Jurassic Park?
My brain didn't get bigger.
All right, I knew I had that somewhere. All right. Well, anyway, on that note, yeah, everybody, I'm gonna get you. Everybody out there, if you want to send us some questions, comments, let us know what you want us to talk about. Like I said, we know a lot about leather. I hope. Yeah. And if we don't know the information, we can find it. But we also have a lot of opinions about other stuff. Let us know what you're into. I think one of the things I want to do with the show here is make it for you. So we'd like to make this something that you're interested in and have you guys participate in the creation of the show a bit. So I'll keep thinking about ideas for that. So email questions, comments, everything else. Hate mail, fullgrainpodcast@gmail.com. And as at this moment, we don't have a website. We don't have an Instagram. We don't have any of that stuff. But that'll be coming soon too. So thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Phil.
And we'll see you next time.